The galactic auction was alive with noise, chatter, and the low hum of anti-gravity carts moving rare goods from display to storage. The station floated like a jewel in orbit around a blue and white planet, its transparent walls revealing the glittering expanse of stars. Alien species of every shape and size wandered the aisles, scanning the items on display. Machines beeped, holograms spun, and security drones hovered silently above the crowd. Jackson, a human salvage expert, walked calmly through the throng, his eyes scanning the displays. He had been to dozens of auctions across the galaxy, but today something felt different. Not far ahead, a small crowd had gathered around a single item, a ship, old and unassuming, resting quietly on a raised platform. Its hull bore scratches and faded paint, yet it had a presence that made humans instinctively notice it first. Jackson's heart skipped a beat. The ship was the Etherian. No human alive had actually seen one in person. It was a legend, built in humanity's early era of interstellar exploration, a vessel that had once crossed systems no one thought humans could reach. Rumors said it had a propulsion system so advanced it made newer alien ships look slow and clumsy. Others whispered that it contained secrets of long-lost technology, maps of uncharted space, logs of first contacts, and even experimental weapons that could change a battle in minutes. Yet here it was, sitting in the auction, tagged for dismantling. Jackson pushed through the crowd. Aliens leaned over the railings, scanning the ship's hull, taking pictures and murmuring in their own languages. A few chuckled at the human presence. Why do they even care? One squid-like bidder hissed in a low voice. It's just an old ship. Nothing humans could understand. Jackson's jaw tightened. That was exactly why he cared. Humans had always been underestimated. Weak, fragile, predictable, that was what the galaxy believed. But he knew better. Humans were clever, resourceful, determined. And this ship could remind everyone why humanity should never be underestimated. The auctioneer, a tall insectoid with 3 eyes and a voice that echoed unnaturally, tapped a claw against the podium. Next item for dismantling, Lot 472 Etherian Human Exploration Vessel. Highest bidder for parts will claim its salvage. Bidding starts now. A ripple ran through the crowd. A few wealthy aliens raised their hands, their eyes glinting with greed. Jackson swallowed hard. If the auction ended this way, the ship would be torn apart, its hull melted for metals, its engines stripped for components. Humanity's legacy, lost forever. He had to act. Jackson edged closer to the platform, weaving between towering alien frames. His human form was small, unassuming, easy to miss in a crowd of giants and flying limbs. He reached out and touched the ship's hull. It was cold, metallic, but alive in a strange way. He could almost feel the hum of old power sleeping inside, waiting for someone who understood it. A security drone hovered near him, scanning. Jackson froze, then whispered to himself, "Come on, let me in." The drone chirped, then moved on. Timing was everything. With a quick glance around, Jackson leapt onto the platform. The crowd gasped. The auctioneer screeched something in his alien tongue. Security droids buzzed closer, but Jackson was already at the ship's entry hatch. With a practiced motion, he forced it open. The interior was dark and musty, smelling of ozone and long disuse. Panels lined the walls, covered in dust, but the layout was familiar to him. He had studied old human ship schematics all his life. This was home. Jackson stepped inside. He crouched, sliding past panels that hummed faintly, feeling the dormant energy under his hands. His mind raced. Reactivating even part of the ship would be a challenge. Modern humans had moved on to advanced AI and automated systems, but this ship, it required intuition, understanding, patience. Only a human could wake it. Outside, alien bidders started to notice his presence. One shrieked and pointed. "Human, remove him." Security droids surged forward. Jackson ducked behind the ship's engine console, his hands tracing circuits. He muttered under his breath, pulling switches in sequences only a human mind could see. The engines shivered. A small light flickered on the control panel. He grinned. One more system online. The auctioneer's voice rose in alarm. "Stop him! Stop the human!" Jackson ignored it. He moved quickly, running wires, aligning conduits, reconnecting what others would have ignored as useless scrap. The ship's core pulsed faintly. It remembered him, or maybe it remembered humans. Either way, it responded. A booming thud shook the platform. One alien bidder had jumped on to block the hatch. Jackson spun, pressing a button under the console. The floor shifted slightly, creating a sudden gap. The alien tumbled back. "Not bad for a human," he hissed as he scuttled away. The crowd murmured. They were not used to seeing humans take action like this. They expected fear, failure, retreat. What they didn't expect was confidence, resourcefulness, brilliance under pressure. Jackson ignored their murmurs. He climbed to the pilot's chair. The controls were old but elegant, familiar. His hands danced over the switches. The console lit up more. Systems that hadn't breathed for decades now hummed with life. A flicker of blue light ran through the viewport. The engines, they were alive, just barely, but alive. The auctioneer shrieked, his multiple arms flailing. "Stop him, he will destroy the ship." Jackson laughed softly. "Destroy it? No, he would save it." The ship shuddered under his hands as he activated the anti-gravity lifts. Slowly it began to rise above the platform. Aliens scrambled, weapons drawn, but their blasters were ineffective against the hull's ancient shielding. The Etherian was not just old, it was smart. It knew how to protect itself. The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. The legend had come alive. Jackson gritted his teeth. He had to get out before security reinforcements arrived. But even as the ship lifted, he felt a thrill. For the first time in decades, humanity had reminded the galaxy why it could not be ignored. He whispered to the ship, "Let's show them what humans can do." A sudden alarm blared inside the auction hall. Security droids activated force fields to contain the ship. Jackson pressed a lever. The Etherian tilted, slipping through the barriers as if they didn't exist. The aliens gasped in disbelief. For a brief moment, time seemed to slow. The station, the stars outside, the murmuring crowd, all faded into the background. There was only him and the ship. The Etherian had waited for this moment. And humans had finally returned to the stars in a way the galaxy could not ignore. Jackson's mind raced with possibilities. If he could get the ship safely out of the auction, study its core, and understand its technology, humans would gain a power the galaxy had long dismissed them as incapable of achieving. But first, he had to escape. The first part of his plan was simple: lift off. He pushed the throttle forward. The engines hummed and roared, responding to his hands. Slowly, the ship floated above the platform. Alien bidders lunged to block him, but Jackson twisted the controls in a way that only a human could: intuitive, clever, unpredictable. The Etherian responded, slipping past their grasp. The crowd erupted into chaos. Shouts, screams, and alarm signals filled the station. Jackson didn't care. All that mattered was the ship and the future it represented. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. Today was the beginning of a reckoning. He took a deep breath and whispered to himself, "Hold on, old friend. We're going home." And with that, the Etherian slipped through the station's exit, leaving stunned aliens in its wake and carrying humanity's legacy back into the galaxy. The Etherian glided through the station's exit, its ancient hull humming as if it were alive. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a dark canvas dotted with distant suns. Jackson leaned forward in the pilot's seat, eyes scanning the control panels. Every gauge, switch, and lever felt familiar, almost comforting. But the thrill of flight was nothing compared to the danger waiting for him. Behind him, the auction station's alarms blared. Security droids activated interceptors, sleek fighter crafts designed to capture rogue ships. Alien bidders who had tried to stop him scrambled aboard their own ships, firing energy beams. Their laughter had turned to panic. "Stop him! That human cannot escape!" Jackson's lips curled into a grin. Humans were always underestimated. That was their greatest advantage. Where others relied on machines, humans relied on creativity, improvisation, and the ability to act in ways no algorithm could predict. He pressed a lever, activating the Etherian's propulsion system. The engines roared to life, sending pulses of energy through the ship. It responded beautifully, twisting and rolling through the vacuum with a grace alien ships lacked. Its shields flickered, old but strong enough to absorb the first few laser blasts. An alien fighter closed in. Jackson studied its approach. Its weapon systems were precise but predictable. He tilted the ship, dodging at the last moment. The alien misfired, and a bolt of energy slammed into a nearby asteroid, sending sparks into space. "Not bad for a human," the alien muttered, astonished. Inside the ship, Jackson's hands moved over the panels, reactivating systems in a rhythm he had memorized over years of studying old human spacecraft. Lights flickered to life across the control board. He smiled as the ship's internal sensors booted up. The Etherian remembered him, or at least it responded to the touch of a human. Suddenly, the ship's old communication system crackled. A distorted voice echoed through the cabin. "Human, you are not allowed to take this vessel. Surrender immediately." Jackson laughed softly. "Surrender? That's not a human word." He pressed another switch, engaging the ship's auxiliary thrusters. The Etherian shot forward, weaving through asteroid debris in the belt outside the station. Alien fighters followed, their ships faster and more advanced, but they could not match the unpredictable flight patterns of a ship piloted with intuition. The chase intensified. Energy bolts zipped past, reflecting off the ship's hull. Jackson twisted the controls in ways no computer could calculate. The Etherian tilted, rolled, and flipped, slipping through impossible angles in the asteroid field. Each movement left the aliens scrambling, their advanced targeting systems failing. Amid the chaos, Jackson noticed a problem. The ship's core was old and unstable. If he pushed it too hard, it could overload, potentially destroying the vessel, and with it, humanity's greatest relic. He gritted his teeth. There was no choice. He had to balance speed, defense, and the fragile life of the ship. Using human ingenuity, he rerouted energy from the non-essential systems to stabilize the core. Warning lights blinked, panels hissed, but the Etherian remained steady. It responded to his touch like a living being, alive and aware. An alien ship caught up, firing a barrage of plasma beams. Jackson ducked as the ship shuddered. He quickly activated the ship's old cloaking mechanism, a hidden system the auctioneers had dismissed as obsolete. The Etherian shimmered, becoming almost invisible against the blackness of space. The alien ship swerved, confused. "Where did it go?" one screeched. "The human ship vanished," Jackson smirked. Humans were small, weak, and underestimated, but unpredictable. And unpredictability could beat pure power every time. The cloaking didn't last long. Energy demands drained the system quickly. But in those precious seconds, he plotted a new path, an uncharted warp corridor he had discovered years ago while scanning old maps. It was dangerous. No ship had ever passed through it without careful calculations, and the Etherian's logs suggested it might have flaws that could tear a vessel apart. But humans were risk-takers, and Jackson knew that sometimes risk was the only path to survival. He punched coordinates into the navigation console. The stars stretched into lines as the Etherian accelerated, heading for the corridor. Behind him, alien ships continued their pursuit, firing blindly. The chase had become a test of wits, skill, and courage, a human test. Inside the cabin, Jackson leaned back and ran his hands along the control panel. The ship was responding better than he expected. Systems that had been dormant for decades now hummed in harmony. He found a hidden manual in the ship's memory banks, old schematics left by the original human designers. They showed ways to enhance the engines using energy circuits no alien could understand. He implemented them quickly, rewiring panels and rerouting power. The Etherian's propulsion system roared, giving him a sudden boost. Alien fighters struggled to match his speed. For the first time, humans were not just surviving, they were leading. The corridor loomed ahead, a swirling tunnel of energy, unstable and unpredictable. Stars stretched, twisted, and warped as the Etherian approached. Jackson's heart raced. One wrong move could tear the ship apart, but hesitation would allow the alien fleet to catch up. He took a deep breath, trusting the instincts humans had developed over centuries: intuition, courage, and a stubborn refusal to give up. He engaged the warp drive. The corridor enveloped the ship, stars stretching into long streams of light. The ship shook violently, systems warning of overloads and potential failures. But Jackson's hands were steady. He adjusted energy flows, stabilized the engines, and guided the ship with precision. The aliens outside could only watch helplessly as the Etherian vanished from normal space, leaving them behind in confusion and disbelief. When the turbulence finally ended, the Etherian emerged light years away from the auction station. Jackson exhaled, relief washing over him. The ship's systems glowed softly, alive and obedient. He smiled, leaning back in the pilot's chair. For the first time in decades, humanity's ingenuity had triumphed over alien technology, but there was no time to celebrate. The Etherian's memory core, containing logs of early human exploration and experimental technologies, awaited study. Secrets that could change interstellar travel, trade, and warfare rested within the ship. If humans could unlock them, the galaxy would see their true potential. Jackson activated the ship's internal sensors, scanning the core. Streams of data flowed across the panels: old star maps, schematics, and recordings of missions that no human alive had ever experienced. His eyes widened in amazement. The ship had been waiting, preserving the knowledge of humanity's past, for the right person to awaken it. He spent hours studying, making notes and understanding the systems. Every panel, lever, and screen told a story of human innovation. The aliens had laughed at humans for being fragile, predictable, and unremarkable. But here, in this ship, Jackson saw proof of a species capable of extraordinary feats. The stars outside remained silent, but the Etherian hummed with life. And Jackson knew the chase was far from over. Word of a human escaping the galactic auction in a legendary vessel would spread. Bounty hunters, rival factions, and alien empires would come for him. But humanity had one advantage the galaxy could never fully anticipate: creativity, courage, and determination. For now, though, he allowed himself a moment of triumph. He had claimed the Etherian. He had escaped impossible odds. And he had proven once again that humans were never to be underestimated. The first step was survival. The next step, mastery. Jackson leaned back, looking at the stars. The Etherian had carried humanity's past. Now it would carry its future. And the galaxy, as always, was about to be reminded why humans could achieve the impossible. The Etherian glided through deep space, its hull shimmering faintly under distant starlight. Jackson's eyes were glued to the control panels, scanning the streams of data pouring from the ship's memory core. The more he learned, the more he realized how extraordinary this vessel truly was. The schematics, maps, and exploration logs contained information humans had lost over centuries: routes through hidden wormholes, energy-efficient propulsion methods, and even defensive systems the galaxy believed were impossible. Yet knowledge alone was not enough. The galaxy was vast, and word of the human who had stolen the Etherian spread quickly. Within hours, reports reached alien fleets, pirate clans, and rival auction houses. Jackson knew that soon powerful enemies would arrive, intent on reclaiming the ship or destroying it. He focused on mastering the ship's engines first. The Etherian was unique. Its propulsion system was not only faster than contemporary models, but adaptable in ways no alien vessel could mimic. By carefully rerouting energy through the core, Jackson could achieve short bursts of acceleration far beyond what its age suggested. It was a delicate process. One wrong adjustment could overload the core, obliterating the ship and himself. As he worked, sensors flashed an alert. A fleet of alien interceptors emerged from a nearby nebula. Sleek, menacing ships surrounded him, their engines glowing with deadly energy. "They never give up," Jackson muttered. His lips curled into a confident grin. Humans thrived under pressure. This was their moment. The aliens opened fire immediately, plasma beams streaking through space. Jackson reacted instinctively, twisting the Etherian into an evasive spin. His movements were precise but unconventional, patterns too irregular for computer targeting systems to predict. One beam struck the ship's outer hull, leaving a scorch mark but no serious damage. The aliens blinked in surprise. "They're not just surviving," one alien commander hissed over the fleet's communication network. "They're fighting back." Jackson activated the ship's hidden weapon systems, ancient defenses built into the hull, long ignored by modern engineers. Tiny energy emitters along the Etherian's frame pulsed, creating interference fields that scrambled alien targeting sensors. Beams missed, weapons misfired, and the human small ship darted through gaps the larger, more powerful alien vessels could not navigate. The battle escalated, each move a test of creativity, intuition, and courage. Jackson's fingers danced over switches, rerouting power to engines, shields, and weapons in quick succession. The Etherian responded like an extension of his mind, its ancient systems blending seamlessly with human ingenuity. For the first time, he realized the ship's true potential. The Etherian was not just a relic, it was a tool to demonstrate the greatest strength humans had ever possessed: adaptability. Where aliens relied on raw power, humans relied on thought, resourcefulness, and unpredictability. That combination was lethal. The alien fleet tried a coordinated maneuver, attempting to surround him. Jackson's eyes narrowed. If they succeeded, escape would be impossible. He needed a new approach, something no alien could anticipate. Pulling up the ship's exploration logs, he discovered a hidden feature. The Etherian could create temporary distortions in space, a limited warp bubble capable of short jumps across small distances. It had been designed for evasive maneuvers during early exploratory missions, when no one could rely on conventional navigation. Jackson activated the warp bubble. The Etherian shimmered and vibrated violently. Alien ships hesitated, unsure how to react. With a sudden pulse, the ship vanished from their sensors, reappearing several hundred kilometers away. The fleet scrambled to regroup, but it was too late. The human had once again turned the tables. For the first time, Jackson allowed himself a moment of exhilaration. Humanity had always been underestimated, yet here he was, outsmarting entire alien fleets with nothing more than cleverness, courage, and instinct. The galaxy had dismissed humans as weak, but he was proving that weakness could be an illusion. Even as he celebrated, another alert flashed across the control panel. This time, it wasn't an external threat, it was internal. The ship's memory core, containing centuries of human exploration data, was triggering a security protocol. Jackson frowned. It seemed the core wanted him to unlock something, a part of the Etherian he hadn't yet accessed. He traced the core's signals to a hidden compartment beneath the cockpit. A small panel slid open, revealing a crystalline interface. Touching it, he felt a strange resonance, a connection to the ship that was almost conscious. The interface displayed schematics he had never seen before: advanced energy conduits, hidden warp tunnels, and defensive systems capable of overwhelming an entire fleet. Jackson's mind raced. If he could activate these systems, humans would have not just a ship, but a symbol of unmatched ingenuity. The galaxy had relied on brute force, but humans relied on thought. One well-planned move could change everything. As he studied the schematics, sensors picked up a massive fleet entering the sector. This was no small group of pursuers. It was a full strike force, armed with technology specifically designed to counter ships like the Etherian. Jackson's heart pounded, but he refused to panic. Panic was human weakness. Instead, he relied on what humans did best: adaptation. He activated the ship's hidden systems one by one. Energy conduits glowed, shields expanded, and the engines roared to life with a power that belied their age. The Etherian had been waiting for someone to understand it fully, and Jackson finally had. The alien fleet closed in. Their weapons fired, a coordinated barrage meant to overwhelm any vessel. But Jackson's maneuvers were unpredictable, combining ancient ship design with human intuition. He twisted, dodged, and countered in ways the aliens could not anticipate. One by one, their ships misfired or collided with each other, unable to comprehend the tactics a human mind could execute in seconds. The turning point came when Jackson discovered the ship's core defensive mechanism, a system capable of generating an electromagnetic pulse, disabling nearby technology. He activated it at the perfect moment, and the pulse radiated outward. Alien ships went dark, their systems frozen. Some drifted helplessly, while others tumbled into the depths of space. Jackson allowed himself a brief, triumphant laugh. Humanity had survived countless threats, endured countless dismissals, and now they were proving themselves superior in a galaxy that had long scoffed at them. Even as the last alien ship drifted out of control, Jackson felt a sense of awe. The Etherian wasn't just a ship. It was proof that humans could achieve greatness when underestimated, overlooked, or pushed to the edge. Its memory core still held secrets, routes to unexplored systems, and technology that could redefine human expansion. But he knew the fight wasn't over. Word of the Etherian's escape would spread quickly. More fleets would come, more enemies would seek the ship. He would need to rely on every ounce of human ingenuity, courage, and creativity to survive. As he piloted the Etherian into deeper, uncharted space, Jackson realized something profound. Humans were not just participants in the galaxy. They were innovators, strategists, and survivors. Every maneuver, every risk, every clever twist of fate reinforced what he already knew. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't speed, strength, or numbers. It was thought, ingenuity, and the ability to act where no one else dared. The galaxy had dismissed humans for centuries, but the Etherian was changing that. With Jackson at the helm, humans would no longer be underestimated. The turning point had been reached. From here on, every encounter, every battle, every challenge would remind the galaxy why humans were a force to be reckoned with. Jackson allowed himself a moment of calm, looking out at the endless stars. Ahead lay unknown systems, unexplored territories, and hidden dangers. But he was ready. The Etherian hummed beneath him, alive and aware, responding to his commands. Together, they would navigate the stars, uncover humanity's lost knowledge, and prepare for the challenges to come. And somewhere in the distance, alien fleets regrouped, unaware that humans were no longer the species to be underestimated. The galaxy's underestimation of humanity had ended. The real challenge and the real adventure was just beginning. The Etherian moved silently through the uncharted sectors of space, its engines pulsing softly, echoing the heartbeat of an ancient human design. Jackson's hands rested lightly on the controls, his eyes scanning the ship's advanced sensors. Though the recent battles had proven his skill and the ship's power, he knew the galaxy would not remain silent. The news of a human mastering the legendary Etherian had spread faster than any signal he could have sent. Reports filtered in from distant sectors, fleets assembling, mercenaries mobilizing, and alien governments scrambling to intercept him. Jackson's grin widened. This was exactly what he had expected. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries, and now the galaxy's attention was on them, and not in a dismissive way. Humans were becoming a force to be reckoned with. The first major threat appeared as a massive alien strike group jumped into the sector. Hundreds of ships, larger and more heavily armed than any Jackson had previously faced, formed a near-impenetrable blockade. Their commander, a towering reptilian warlord named Tharkal, had been personally assigned to recover the Etherian, alive or destroyed. "Human," Tharkal's voice thundered across the communications network. "You are insignificant. Surrender now, or your species will pay the price for your insolence." Jackson chuckled. "Significant enough to survive and teach you a lesson." He activated the Etherian's full systems, running energy through hidden conduits and long-forgotten propulsion arrays. The ship vibrated with power, responding to his commands like a living extension of his mind. This was humanity's ingenuity in action, ancient technology enhanced by human intuition and creativity. The alien fleet opened fire, a storm of plasma beams and energy bolts streaking across the void. Jackson twisted the ship, rolling, flipping, and darting through impossible angles. The Etherian's shields flared as beams struck, barely denting the hull. Alien weapons, though advanced, were designed for predictable tactics. Humans were not predictable. They were chaotic, inventive, and fearless. Using the ship's memory core, Jackson analyzed every enemy ship in real time. He discovered weak points in their formations, energy flows that could be disrupted, and targeting systems that were vulnerable to interference. Within minutes, he had devised a strategy no alien commander could have anticipated. He activated the ship's auxiliary weapons. Tiny energy pulses erupted from the hull, creating electromagnetic distortions that scrambled the alien fleet's sensors. Their shots misfired, some colliding with each other, causing chain reactions of destruction. The Etherian moved like a ghost through the chaos, untouchable and swift. Tharkal's frustration grew. "Impossible," he roared. "The human ship should be destroyed," Jackson smiled. "It's not impossible, it's human." But he knew defeating the fleet would require more than evasive maneuvers. He needed to demonstrate the full power of the Etherian, to show the galaxy why humans should never be underestimated. He accessed the ship's hidden warp generators, systems that could create temporary rifts in space, redirecting energy and allowing attacks from angles no enemy could anticipate. The first rift opened in front of the fleet, a shimmering distortion that distorted light and gravity. From it, beams of concentrated energy shot out, striking alien ships where their shields were weakest. Explosions rippled through the formation, and the fleet staggered in confusion. Jackson activated a second rift behind him, confusing the enemy further. Their coordination collapsed. Even as chaos unfolded, Jackson's mind raced. He discovered another layer of the Etherian's capabilities, a tactical AI designed to enhance human decision-making. Unlike modern AIs, it didn't override the pilot's intuition. Instead, it complemented it, predicting outcomes based on logic and probability, while leaving room for human creativity. He activated it fully. Now, every movement of the Etherian was perfectly calculated, yet still unpredictable. Alien ships, no matter how advanced, could not anticipate the combination of AI precision and human ingenuity. One by one, their ships were disabled, forced to retreat or destroyed. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as a human, not a massive alien fleet, turned the tide of battle. Tharkal's flagship emerged from the haze of destruction, larger and more imposing than any other vessel. The warlord's eyes blazed with fury. "This ends now, human. Surrender or die." Jackson's hands flew over the controls. He activated the final system he had been waiting for, the Etherian's memory core projection. A holographic map of hidden wormholes, secret routes, and ancient human technology flashed across space in front of the fleet. The map revealed not just locations but the strategic advantages of each system, human knowledge of the galaxy that no alien could rival. The fleet paused. Even the bravest captains hesitated. Knowledge was power, and humans had it in ways no alien race expected. Jackson made his move. Using the warp generators, he created a series of rifts, striking key enemy ships while remaining untouchable. The Etherian moved like lightning, a phantom of power, strategy, and precision. Alien ships fell back, retreating in confusion and fear. Tharkal growled. He had underestimated humans. His entire fleet had underestimated them. And now the truth was undeniable. Humans were more than survival specialists. They were innovators, strategists, and fighters unlike any other species in the galaxy. The battle ended with the remaining alien ships withdrawing, defeated but alive. Jackson took a deep breath, the hum of the Etherian vibrating beneath him. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. And more importantly, humanity had proven its worth. But Jackson didn't stop there. He knew the galaxy would not forget this display. He began charting a new course, using the ship's hidden systems to explore uncharted territories. The Etherian's memory core contained knowledge that could accelerate human expansion, improve technology, and ensure survival in a galaxy that had always doubted them. As he navigated through star systems no human had ever seen, Jackson reflected on what had happened. The galaxy had assumed humans were weak, fragile, and limited. Yet in every challenge, humans had shown creativity, courage, and determination. The Etherian was a symbol of that ingenuity, a reminder that humans could achieve greatness when underestimated. He activated the ship's communication array. A message went out to human colonies across the galaxy. The Etherian is alive. Humanity is stronger than you think. Prepare to reclaim your place among the stars. Colonists, scientists, and explorers received the message with awe. Humans had long been dismissed as second-rate citizens of the galaxy. That era was over. Jackson's actions, combined with the ship's hidden technology, had ignited a spark of human pride, ingenuity, and ambition. The Etherian's engines pulsed, carrying Jackson deeper into uncharted space. Ahead lay unknown systems, unclaimed resources, and hidden dangers. But the ship, with its ancient design and advanced technology, was more than capable. And so was he. In the quiet moments, Jackson allowed himself a thought. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. For centuries, they had been overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed. But now, with courage, intelligence, and the legendary Etherian, humans had a place not just among the stars, but at the forefront of the galaxy's future. He looked out at the endless expanse, the stars stretching into infinity. The journey was far from over, but one thing was certain. Humans had returned stronger and wiser than ever, and the galaxy would remember their name. The Etherian hummed beneath him, alive, aware, and ready for the next challenge. Jackson smiled. Humanity was not just surviving, they were thriving. And somewhere in the distance, across billions of miles of space, other civilizations realized the truth. Humans were a force the galaxy could never ignore.